It's very important. And, you know, everybody behave. You're now being recorded and transcribed. Ooh, they're very fancy. So thank you all for attending. Again, we'll be starting here in just a few minutes, but I will take a moment to remind you that you can raise your hand hitting the little hand icon that says raise up towards the upper right-hand corner of your screen. And you can raise your hand and unmute yourself and ask your question. You can also use the chat function. We have people that will be monitoring that and answering your chats as we go through today. And again, I think the best way is raise your hand and ask your question because everybody appreciates hearing somebody's voice other than Dave's and mine, because it's been 11 years that we've been doing this world famous grant. So call. So I know that's pretty exciting. Hang on. And Dan is with us today. Dan, can you unmute? Let me see if that's working.
Yeah, I'm unmuted, so hopefully you can hear me. Yep.
Great. Well, as soon as I get my computer to work here, because for some reason I'm not able to get to my screen. There we go. I can get rid of this. There we go. Enable all features. Fantastic. And the world famous praying skeleton. This is so we're in hopes that everybody's going to listen and get it all right the first time this year. I guess this is the perfect time to put in a segue. This year we are starting a little bit late on Microloan. And for everybody that is watching this live, you do get the bonus benefit of knowing that we did release Prime Grant early ahead of Micro for the first time ever. So that is already on grants.gov. It's a competitive grant and you can apply to it and it'll help amplify your technical assistance because it has two tracks, one that works very similar but has slightly different questions during the application as your microloan grant, which is for technical assistance. And then there's a second track that would allow your organization to help other organizations improve their technical assistance. So that's the Prime Grant, and it's live now, and it closes on the same day as the Microloan Grant, which is April 30th. Both of them are a hard shut window. You miss the window on either one of the grants, your Microloan Grant or Prime, you're out. So please make sure you submit. I would submit by the 28th because I'm a firm believer in Murphy's Law. And speaking of the poster child of Murphy's Law, Dan?
Yeah, thanks, Chris. Hey, everybody. Thanks for jumping on the call. Sorry, it's been a while since we've all gotten together, but it's grant season again. And as Chris mentioned, we're getting a late start this year, just getting our full budget a week ago. And we're going to be under a really tight timeline in terms of getting your applications reviewed, getting your budget memos, funding memos, notices of award back out to you and so forth. So please listen carefully to the training today. Chris and Dave will give you everything you possibly could want to know or need to know about how to submit this grant application and grant solutions for the micro grant. But really important that you listen to the details and that you get it as right as possible on the first try. For sure, make sure that you hit the apply button before the application deadline. As Chris mentioned, if you miss that deadline, there won't be a second chance. We just don't have any time this year to extend the application deadline or open up a second application. So anyway, like I said, nice seeing everybody. It's been a long time. Glad that we're back on the line with you. We will plan to do more trainings, maybe on a monthly basis or so with all the intermediaries. And until then, I will pass it over to Chris and Dave for today's training.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you, Dan.
We're going to hop right in here with getting our training off. Let me see if I can get this set up just right, the best we can. Once again, instead of using a PowerPoint this time, we'll be using a PDF. So to do that, I'm going to take a moment and just turn my camera off so that the screen can be as large as possible, hopefully larger than my head. So there you go. If you need to, you can minimize that little picture in the corner if that's what you have, and you can emphasize our friendly skeleton here. So if you are new to the call, you're going to see our friendly praying skeleton a couple of times because we really want to emphasize some common pitfalls that we run into. And we go over it for the past 13 years, but yet we still have people that hit this roadblock. So this is the year Dave is excited that we are going to not hit any one of these common issues. So, couple things to keep in mind. Round everything you got on the 424A, A10 through A12 to the nearest dollar. No pennies. Do not do pennies on the 424A and the A10 through A12. Please make sure you sign all of the forms where appropriate. I'll give you a clue. It says signature. So don't forget to do that, because if you don't sign it, you're not authorizing us to process, and that'll create a delay. Complete your budget narrative. Please submit as an attachment to the A10 and A12 budget with a detailed worksheet form. And we're going to go over all of these, but we have been told if we say this 3 times, none of these things will occur. So I'm just starting off right here at the beginning. Okay, I know how many of you love the Form 1081. Please make sure you complete and sign that form, and please take special attention. They are so exciting that they made a new form that expires as of 2/28/2026. So make sure on your form it says expiration 2/28/2026. If you use an older form, we have to reject it, send it back, and you have to run around and get the signature. So please make sure you're using the correct 1081. And if you have any old ones, get rid of them. Okay, everyone that's listed on the A10, we will be needing a resume, a job description, and a Form 1081. If they haven't already been approved, we will also need to know the ADO contact information. So that's going to be name, position, phone number, and email, as well as the PI/PD. So we need this information because there's multiple hands that are going to be handling your grant, not just in our office, but the Office of Grants Management. And then later on, we send it out to Denver. Those are your favorite people because they have the magic button that they push, and they turn all those numbers you sent us into money, and it gets sent to you. But everybody uses all of these forms and contacts information in a slightly different way. So we want to make sure we have everything where it needs to be. So please make sure you follow these instructions exactly. Now, of course, we sent out a notice earlier about your SAM registration. Please make sure that it is going to stay in effect through grant season, certainly through mid-June. Because if you don't, you won't be able to finish your application because they are directly linked to Grant Solution. And if you do not have an active SAM registration, you will not be able to submit your grant. So make sure you get that updated. So go in there, it'll tell you when it's expiring, and whatever you need to do to keep it current, please do it. Match requirement. If you have a bonus grant this year, and there's a few more bonus grants than we have had in before, because if you specialize in rural, you got a bonus grant. So if you have a bonus grant, your match will be less than just the straight up 25% of the award amount. Bonus grants don't have any match. So you can't do the old rule of just 25% of the number. You're going to have to read your award letter, figure out how much was a bonus grant, how much was your regular microloan grant, and take 25% of your regular grant. Your match should not be more than 25% of your award. We don't want you to overmatch. We know you have better use for your money than overmatching on our grant. If budget is approved for more than 25%, that money can't be used for anything other than award. So if you give us too much and we approve that and you get your notice of award, we're going to expect that match. You can't go back later and say, do over, we don't want to give you as much match. No, we've signed an agreement at that point. So please be very mindful that you're matching at least 25%, if not exactly 25% of your base microloan award amount. Form 424A is your 424A, Section A, Row 1, Column E, the federal amount. Make sure it's your federal amount on the 424A, Section A, Row 1, Column E. Very important. There are a lot of columns there. We want the federal amount in column E. In row 2, column F, the non-federal amount, also known as your match, or any funding that is not being approved by the U.S. federal government, goes right there. So put your match in column F in row 2. Okay. Does your 424A, Section B, Column 1, total agree to your federal amount in Column 2? Does everything match your letter that we sent you? Bottom line. Very often we have people that try to get more grant money than we awarded. We're not going to let that happen, and it creates a delay. So make sure your numbers match. All your totals need to match what we sent you. I guess Thursday or Friday, when your notification letter came out, that basically told you how much you'd be awarded. All right, so I'm breaking the curse. I've already told you one time the common pitfalls. We know we're going to see them 2 more times, and we're going to jump right in here. So here it is, the 2024 official technical assistance, how to apply for your grant webinar. I know many of you stayed up for it. So your grant notice letter has already been sent to you. For everybody that's watching or here live, Grant Solutions has just sent that notification to your person in your organization, your ADO, and it is in their inbox, and that's their invitation to get into the application. So you can start jumping right on it. And that's in grantsolutions.gov. All right, for anybody that's never seen one of these letters that we emailed to you last week, basically describing what you were awarded, it came in looking something similar to this. It didn't have a lot of X's. It actually was addressed to you. And there would have been information about your federal award, your base grant, your bonus grant, if any, in the total, your match, and then your total budget would be in the lower right-hand box here. So very, very important. When you try to figure out what your match is, we're telling you right here in the non-federal match. So you don't even have to do the math. We've done it. So it's right there. So use that as your guide as you start building your budget and start filling in your forms to submit through Grant Solutions. And everything is fairly redundant to what I've already been talking about your match being 25%. We're in year 2024. We're going to start the grant project period July 1st, 2024, and it runs through June 30th of 2025. So again, just a few reminders of what you can and can't do. You can't have contractor expenses greater than 50%. We're going to cover that also, but it's all brought into your attention here. These are some of the common issues that we see. No more than 50% of the grant funds may be used to provide technical assistance to prospective borrowers. You know that as pre-TA. So you got your pre-TA, no more than 50% of this grant can be used towards pre, and you cannot have marketing expenses exceed 5% of your budget. That's been around for about 4 or 5 years now, so you should all be experts. And speaking of experts, should you want to catch up and have some reading and or cure insomnia, you can look at CFR Title II, Part 200, and that's going to tell you everything you ever wanted to know about grants or put you to sleep. Either way, it's informative and curative in one document. So we're very happy to be able to provide that to you so that you will be able to utilize that during your grant application. Should you have any questions, you can see all over here, we're talking grant solutions. This is an award to you. This is not a competitive grant. You must go through grant solutions to get this money. I'm going to beat that to death today. Okay, so again, we're telling you in your letter the required things you need. And there's a long list. We're going to go over every one of these in the presentation, so I'm not going to read it. It's been open since April 1st, even though your invitation just came in, so you can be prepared. So please get that done. But the most important part is the last day is April 30th, 4:59 Eastern Standard Time. Now, I know what you're saying. Why did they do it at that time? Well, I'll tell you why. We used to do it at midnight, and somebody complained that I wasn't sitting in the office at 11:50. Surprise, no. If I'm sitting in the office at 11:50 at night, it's because I died and nobody walked into my office to check on me, and I will be very smelly by Monday. So we decided that that was a bad and possibly traumatic idea. So we're going to end it at 4:59 Eastern Standard Time at the end of April, April 30th. So that's real important. And Dave is going to come by, open my door at 5, make sure I'm not dead, and then leave. I appreciate that, Dave. Thank you. So very important. Do not miss this date. You blow it, it's over. And how many of you, especially you brave people that have turned your camera on, thank you, show of hands, know what Murphy's Law is? Yes, a couple of you. Murphy's Law dictates that if something can go wrong at the absolute worst period of time, it will. So I promise you, Murphy's Law will go into effect on April 30th. There will be a horde of cicadas eating your internet cables. It will snow. There will be a meteor hitting something. It doesn't matter. It has to be done. Unless it happens to our server, that's the only reason we could possibly extend. And we will get notification that a meteor of locust hit a federal server. If it hits yours, I will not get notice, and I don't care. It had to have been done at the last minute. Do not let meteor locusts deny you of your money. Do not wait till the last day. Shoot for the 28th, and then if you did the 29th, you're a genius. You got it done. All right, we're moving on. Many of you have been told to sign and send this back. If you have not sent this back, hear the grouchy voice of Dan. He's already logged off, but he's walking back and forth in his office being grouchy. Looks a lot like Dave. Say hi, Dave.
Hi, Dave.
There you go. That's what grouchy looks like. Don't let Dan be grouchy. Check the box that says you want all the money. Now, very important, in the off chance you do not want all that money, please tell us how much money you would like, because if we can get that money back now, we can have it for next year. All right. So please make sure you're going to use all that money. I'm sure this year, because it was a really tough year on funding, that everybody's going to use their money. But in case somebody out there won that Powerball or whatever it was last week, I expect everybody to use this money to help out your community with entrepreneurial education, TA, whatever you want to call it. So, again, this is our standard letter. The right-hand side is telling you some of the common reasons where you cannot use our money. So please use it for entrepreneurial education. If it has the L word, loan, I saw your face there for a minute there, loan, it's most likely ineligible unless it's followed by the word education. Loan education, okay. Loan origination, bad. We are not going to let you spend money on loan origination with a technical assistance grant. So get a chance to take a look at that. It's pretty good. So once you get in, you're going to be able to download your grant instructions. And we're going to go over everything that's listed in here, and it's fairly redundant to the letter you already got. However, if you are having problems with your unique entity identification number, your UEI, you have a point of contact at sams.gov and a phone number for you to call. Do not call us and wait all weekend and go, oh my gosh, I wish Dave was available. We can't do anything or fix anything with UEIs. SAM registration, same thing. You need to talk to Sam, and it's a pretty similar phone number than to the other one, but slightly different. So if you're having issues with your SAM system, immediately call them. I would not even email them. This is an important one. So make sure you're staying active. And again, we have, if it's something that involves eBiz point of contact, you have information there to get, and you have grant solution issues. If for some reason it's not working, you have a hyperlink that you can click here, and that'll get you to grant solutions. Not to mention, I'm sure they have one of those chat boxes or something you can activate, and they will help you out. Again, we cannot do anything with grants.gov, or not grants.gov, grantsolutions.gov. We're very limited on the help we can give there. Again, all the links are there, some phone numbers, you're all set. And again, the instructions have the 424 A and B, your checklist and everything you need. Some of this has already been embedded into Grant Solutions, and you have your list of attachments you need. I need your A9 through A12. Your technical assistance milestone was emailed to you last week with that letter I showed earlier. So make sure whoever got that letter hands you the Excel sheet with all your milestones on there. If for any reason you cannot get it or the person deleted it because they wanted to make your life miserable, you can reach out to your analyst and they will send you another one of these. So very, very important technical assistant milestone. You got to have it, and it came from us. Okay, certification and documentation of matching funds. You'll need that. You need your technical proposal, and that's a whole list of stuff, and we're going to go over all of it that you need to put into this section. You'll see it's attachment 5. Everybody goes, should I do 1 attachment? Should I do 9 attachments? Well, we're taking the time to say attachment 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Anybody want to raise their hand and guess how many attachments we'd like to see? Go ahead, everybody put up 11 fingers. All right, very good. There you go, 11 fingers out there. A few of you kind of close to the reactor, huh? Well, we know who's doing microlending near the radioactive plant, but that's okay. So we left off there. Make sure you get all these forms, your lobbying form, all these just standard forms. You're just going to sign them, be done. We put hyperlinks here for you to find them. If for some reason the hyperlink is down, remember you can always go to whitehouse.gov in addition to our webpage to try to find documents. Search it. You'll find it. Your ACH form should be there. This is very important. The bank account in which we're sending you money to should not be any of your MRF and LRF accounts. If all of you just work in grants, you have no idea what I'm talking about when I say MRF and LRF. They are not Muppets. If they were, they'd be cool. They are the operating accounts for your loan. So one is your revolving fund, the other one's your loan loss fund. Do not send grant money to either one of those accounts. Make sure you set up or have a separate bank account for this grant money. Indirect cost rate agreement, if you have one with your cognizant agent, go ahead and include that. Otherwise, de minimis this year is still 10%. We'll need your copy of your cost policy, your drug-free agreement, and you're going to pop all that into Grant Solutions. So we're going to start jumping in here real quick, but I'm going to take a breath and a water, and I see we have one hand up. If you would like to unmute yourself and ask your question.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. It's Jen Sporzinski from CEI. Can we reuse our ACH form from last year? Is there anything on it that needs to be new?
I can tell you that a lot of stuff is date sensitive. So you can certainly reuse the form, but I would update the date you signed it because it needs signature down at the bottom.
Oh, there is a date. Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you want to lick it a few times and smudge it and rewrite it, it's okay. I don't recommend it. It's most likely poisonous.
Yeah.
But if you figure out some sort of alternative other than licking the paper, that would probably be acceptable.
Okay,
Especially
thanks.
if you're going to use the same bank account. That's a great question. Good point. Don't listen to me about licking the paper either. All right, there was another hand up.
I was just wondering, I saw from our ED the notification about our microloan TA grant. Is there something similar to that for Prime, letting you know how much you can apply for?
It's in the instructions. It's a competitive grant, so I'm limited to, I could never do a phone call like I'm doing right now for Prime. It's competitive, so you have to read the instructions, and good luck.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. Any more hands? It looks like I got one more hand. Okay, let's go.
Hi, Chris. This is Karen. One quick question about the form. You said I think it was a 1081 form is new with a deadline or with a expiration date. Is there any new forms need to be used for board members, or are we still using the form that was used
Still
prior?
1081. The new 1081 form you'll need for board members unless they've already been approved.
So if they've been submitted but you haven't received notice yet, should we check in with
check with your analyst? Give them a hard time. They deserve it.
Okay, thanks.
All right. Yeah, they're lonely. They're living under fluorescent lights just like me. So, they love to hear from you. Give them a phone call. All right, one last one. Go ahead, Jackie, you're up, and then we're going to move on.
Yeah, on the 1081 topic, it seems like when you went over it summary before, it talked about we'd need the resume, job description, and 1081 if they haven't already been approved. That wording seemed a little different than prior year.
That's correct. We're going to make up for lost time this year, and we're kind of speeding things along. So I'm not going to have you redo them all this year.
Okay, fantastic. So if they have been listed on our current year grant A10, and then we just put those same individuals next year, no 1081s at all for any of those, and no job descriptions and no resumes, correct?
If they're new, I need it. If they are not new, I will not need it. All right. When in doubt,
Fantastic.
talk to your analyst, and this is a 1-year only exception. So if any of you were an axe murderer this year, I want to know about it. You can just send a discreet email, because the whole purpose of the 1081 is I don't want to be on the news. So anybody has had an incident, you may want to discreetly talk to us, because we'll need to know that. But for this year only, if you've already been approved, you're approved. If you're a newbie, you need to do the newbie dance. All right. Okay, we're going to move on, and we're going to be recovering the 1081 stuff too, so it'll be a little bit more clear. So we're going to head into the 424. Again, Dave, being Dave, has very clearly marked things that are not important and that you can leave blank. And he did this quite artistically by typing the word leave blank. You do not type in the word leave blank. You actually leave that space untouched. For those that sent in leave blank last year, funny, but not correct. Okay,
It would
so
be great
make sure
if
you
we-
leave the blank area blank. All right, sorry I had to say that. Okay, hey man, it's been a long year. Okay, here we go. So, legal name, you need to enter your organization name as it shows up in SAMS. If these two don't match, we're going to have an issue. Enter your tax ID number. Make sure you use your unique identifier number. Everybody that's old and crusty, like Dave, knows that it used to be called something else, and I don't even say that word anymore, but it's a unique entity identifier. I don't use the other word. I need the UEI number. Very important. Okay, once again, you're going to put in your address. Make sure you fill all this stuff out. We need your zip code. We need everything filled in that we're asking for that does not have the words leave blank. Okay, so here, authorized organizational rep. First name, last name, middle name, everything go in. I don't even care about the middle name. First and last will do. Enter the title. I need their phone number. I need their email. Very, very important. So make sure we get that in here. Right here, we've already filled in the answer for this block. You can take this, copy it, and run with it. And type that in. Name of the federal agency. That's us. U.S. Small Business Administration. Do not put SBA, because somebody might think we're the Skateboarding Association. We are not. We are the U.S. Small Business Administration. I want to make sure we get this done and right the first time. You need the catalog number 59.046. This number right here. You're going to get a copy of this, so fear not. I know some of you are fiercely writing and taking pictures. I promise you will get a recording of this, and you will get the PDF of this. The CFDA is Microloan Program. Microloan Program 2020 Technical Assistance Grant is the title. We knocked ourselves out on that. Okay. Training technical assistance to SBA Microloan Program borrowers and prospective borrowers. We're telling you what to put in there. Do that exactly. All right. And now we're coming into where Dave loves to talk about this part of the SF for 2024. He's waited all year. Go ahead, Dave. You just tell me to scroll down when you're ready. Take it away.
Okay, thank you, Chris. You did such a good job. I feel like just letting you continue, but I'll take over from here, I guess. The information there is kind of self-explanatory. We've told you what to put in. Congressional district, you would know. Program and project, you would probably put, that stands for Michigan, and that's all programs. In 17, box 17, obviously, that's the project period. which is July 1, 24 through June 30th, 25. And we've completed in box in section 18 there, just an example of what you might put in. And of course, that total 187.5, that equals the total on your notice letter. Just like the other two amounts have to equal what's on your notification letter. I've had some put the notification letter has 150,000 and they'll put federal amount of 750 there. It cannot be different than your notification letter. Please, that gives the analysts, they start to grit their teeth and grind their teeth when they see different amounts that don't compare to the notification letter. So it's important. If you get that right, you're halfway home. Section 19 is just place an X where I indicated there, and you shouldn't have any delinquent debt in your organization. Of course, you have to agree. Place an X there. Any of these things you don't, if you don't submit correctly, it will show up as I think it's a red check mark or some sign that your application is not complete. So please make sure everything is filled out correctly so that you can move on with your application. And the authorized representative, first name, last name, title, and contact information, your phone number, email, and then their signature and the date that they signed this. The next is your 424A. This is a form we have a lot of issues with or problems because a lot of clients or intermediaries or grantees put their federal amount in row 1 as well as their non-federal amount in row 1, section F. Okay. When you do that, it will not be broken out in the section B below. You have to put them in different rows so that they are in different columns in section B. As you can see, the one row column corresponds to the one column in section B. The 2 row column agrees to the column 2 in section B. So they're trying to, confuse you even more. But anyway, the numbers mean something. So make sure you don't put everything in one row or one column. They should be separated out. And make sure, again, these are the numbers. These are the total numbers that agree to your notification letter. I don't want to see $187,501 when your notification letter says $187,500. A lot of applicants use formulas when they're trying to calculate something, and when they divide by 2 or 3 or 4, sometimes it comes out with dollars and cents. So we're trying to make it simple so that we can pinpoint any problems and whatnot. But make sure, please make sure this form agrees with the numbers that you saw on your notification letter that you signed and sent back to your analyst. in section C, for some reason in past years, row 8 doesn't correctly populate to what it's supposed to. Use row 9 for your non-federal match. Don't use row 8, please. And I think that's a point we make in our summary of things that occur more often than not in the application. And the forecast, section D, just put your four quarters of whatever this period is for. That's kind of what you're going to get. They're just using this for budgetary purposes, the government. So quarters 1, 2, and 3, the total agrees to what you've got this year is what you'll get next year. They're just trying to do a budget. Again, in section E, these are again just your estimates for the next 4 years. Use the same
And
amount.
I'm gonna jump in here, Dave. In the past, we've just said, yeah, put the same number every year. You know what? Make it a bigger number each year. Go to town, have fun. Because I didn't think anybody reads this. Maybe they do. I'm not sure. But if you think you're going to need more money, by all means, we are not stopping you from putting in a bigger number. So go ahead and take advantage of that. But, certainly we need you to express that somebody's going to read that you need money going into 4 years, because the government's always looking 5 years in advance. So go to town on that. Put a bigger number or put the same number. Sorry, Dave.
As you know, this year, and I think Dan mentioned that you're getting a lot less this year, and it's because of the the COVID money that was involved in all the grant calculations of the previous year. So that's one major reason you're getting less this year. But there's no way to know what you're going to get, really. But I would agree with Chris, maybe jump at 10% every year and see what happens. It's no big deal. It won't, your analyst will not kick this form back. But make sure you don't put cents in the calculations here.
No pennies.
Make sure it's in
anywhere.
whole dollars, please. Here's 424A. That gives you some kind of explanations of what those columns mean and what those cells mean. And here's another check sheet that we put in there so that we might beat this to death a little bit, but in past years, we found that if we don't put this in enough, then our clients forget about what they should check, at least minimally check in their application. So if I was doing this so that I could be a perfect individual, which I am not, I would make a checklist of my own and make sure that before you hit the submit button to your analyst, that all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed so that you don't have any insignificant errors that you should have caught before you even hit the submit button. So as you can see, go ahead.
I would print this out, page 25, and tape it right next to your monitor as you are filling this stuff in. Do not violate one of these rules.
It puts a lot of gray hair on people, as you can see from my face. So
you're looking great, Dave, for somebody 32.
Thank you. And you look pretty good for 28. I'm telling you.
Hanging in there. All right, so we won't read every one of these.
Right.
Is there a favorite one of yours, Dave?
Favorite one of mine is the I think 1 and 2 and 1, 2, and 3 are my favorites, where people put them in the wrong row or combine the rows or combine the dollars. Seems to occur a lot more than I would think they should. But those are my favorite ones. The 424A, comparing it to the A10 through 12 is another pet peeve of mine. The two amounts don't agree, or for one reason or another, sometimes, which should never occur.
All right. We're going to keep jumping in here. Your form 424B.
424B is just a form you need to sign, I believe, and move on.
Right there, there's a big hint that it needs to be signed. Signature. And it's a red box. Title, organization, and date it. You got to date it, please. All right.
Disclosure of lobbying activities. Box 1, put a B there because it's a grant. Box 2, another B. And report type, it's initial filing. A lot of people, for some reason, applicants put different A, B, C, Ds, they get them mixed up. So please follow that example, and we will be able to move quicker along and get this form done. Make sure it's signed, and obviously this is a 59.04.046 award.
You want to keep going, Dave, or you want to take a couple questions? I see some hands.
Yeah, we'll take some questions.
All right. Question number 1, Jackie, go ahead and unmute. Put your hand down.
Oh, I might have missed it, but when will this PDF be sent to the group? Is it after the training?
Yeah, it'll probably be sent around tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, I know, pretty exciting. You know, if you have insomnia, you can grab last year's. It's very similar. Anybody else? Jackie, go ahead, put your hand down unless you got another question. I know we've got a second one out there.
I have 2. If your job description changed since last year, but you've been on the grant for years, do you still need to do the 1081 or just submit the change update to your
that's
description?
a new position. Congratulations on the promotion, but yeah, you've got to hopefully it's a promotion.
It is.
You may not feel like it after you fill out that 1081. And I mean, keep in mind, folks, the 1081 is really just an honesty form. We're checking everybody anyway. So again, as long as you know you're not committing violent crime to women and children and you haven't committed financial fraud, I don't care that you were a freelance nighttime pharmaceutical sales specialist in college and you got caught. I don't care. I don't care that you were a wholesale acquisition midnight specialist. I don't care. Just answer the question and give us the explanation, and that it matches what you told us. It's an honesty test, so it's not a big deal. So yes, congratulations, you have to give us a new 1081.
What we're looking for is any changes, that's all.
Yep.
And what we tried to get away from was where some of the intermediaries might have 40 or so personnel that work on the grant, and we know that's a big time drag to get all that information currently signed from your client, from your employees. So we kind of nixed that. So if there's a change, of course we want it. If there's no changes at all, move on.
It's a 1 year old. It's a 1 year only window, folks. We're helping you out this year. Okay, one more question. Go ahead. And
then
move.
I had a second question. If we had not received the email from Grant Solution, and it doesn't appear to be on when we log into Grant Solution, for either one of our staff members here. Who do we contact? Or will we get that later in the day?
Again, it went to your ADO, only went to one person in your organization, the big
Yeah,
boss.
I didn't
arrive
receive
yet?
it. No,
Ah, okay. Contact your analyst. We'll see what we can do.
Okay, thanks.
We'll have to have somebody in Grant's office try to resend it or something. Or you can go in there. I gave you the name of it earlier in the presentation. You can try searching for it and
Not
see what
coming
you
up on
find.
our stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not coming up
Yeah.
as a choice on ours, so.
Yeah.
Okay,
We'll contact your analyst, give them, the 411, and they will go down to the poor person in grants management that ran out of the building on the 3rd floor. Did not even take the elevator. Okay, go
did the
ahead.
ADO
You're up,
change?
Namoosh.
My
it
question is-
did, we changed it about a month ago.
Okay, well, it probably is stuck in that person's inbox then, whoever that
Yep.
person is.
I looked in our prior, because I have access to our prior managers inbox, and nothing went into there either.
Yeah,
So,
okay,
Okay.
Yeah.
well, you've
We tried
checked
it.
every box I would check, so,
Yeah, again, send it to them, but yeah,
Sure.
it's a good point. If you guys have staff that leave or change, you got to let us know. My teenagers think I know everything. Absolutely, they do not. But we need to know when you change, because if things moved around, we could have sent that email to the wrong person or a dead box. So if you get a chance, just send it to your analyst. We'll get you backed in. All right, Namooch, you're up, buddy.
Yeah. Hi, Chris. Hi, Dave.
Hi.
Who can be
Howdy.
the authorized representative?
the ADO is normally the executive officer.
Okay.
Sometimes it's not, but normally that's the executive officer who is been granted that permission. It's a role-based system, as you know, and the ADO is the only one that can sign at the end of this dog and pony show that we do and the end of your grant application. That's the only person that can really sign off on your award. So that all has to be correct and put into the system correctly. And it's for some reason, grants management is on a role-based system. So the two most important role people are the ADO and the PIPD. They can sign awards and so forth.
Thank
I mean,
you.
the ADO is the only one that can sign off on the award, but to receive the award and do changes and whatnot, the PIPD can do that too.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Yep. Take your hand down there. Otherwise, I'll keep calling on you. All right. We're jumping back into the presentation. Here we go. Let's see. Budget detail and narrative form A9 through A12. All right, Dave. I know one of your favorite areas.
Yeah, this is one of the forms that everyone should be familiar with by now, because when you add people or whatnot, you have to complete this form again. The A10 is a cumulative form of the historic history of the people that have worked on the grant. So we've tried to make we've tried
Hang
to
on
make
one
this.
second, Dave. Hang on. Can you please mute yourself? Thank you. Go ahead,
We've
Dave.
tried to make. We've tried to make the slide presentation here self-explanatory. It's got probably got too much information in it, but if you read it closely, you'll see what we're trying to get at. This slide here, we want you to tell us who the excuse me, the authorized ADO is and who the PIPD are, and with their email address and phone numbers. that's a requirement that grants management has asked us to make sure we get, because when they complete the contact information in Grant Solutions, this information will be put in there so that we know who's responsible, what roles they have. So be cognizant of typing that either under the person's name or just like I have it there as you're looking at the slide. You can type it in the body of the form in bold print, bigger font, blah, 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 make it pretty. I don't care, but make it significant so that we can see it. Next slide. The next slide is just your A11. It tells us what the budget is. And again, that column is the federal and non-federal amounts. The dollar amount that's in there. And you can also put, if you like, if it saves time, you can also type inside the category where Chris has highlighted, you can delete that information and type something in what that $2,750 applies to, or what that's for, the narrative that we're looking for. So there's a couple ways to get the narrative in your form. It's to put it on another sheet and attach it to your A9 through 12, or type the narrative in that category box.
This tortures us a lot more if you type it in here and make it really small font. Oh my God, that's just so much fun. It's really hard to read. But if you did the attachment in 12-point font, you would torture us less. You choose whichever one.
Yeah, and you would either attach a Word doc or Excel file. You know, it's either one.
Yep.
That's the easiest for you to use.
There
But we've
you
given
go.
you a couple of different options to input that information. And then, of course, the total of 180, you can see the total of 187.5 ties out to what your notification letter had on it, with no cents and no dollars. You know, it just make sure everything ties out, that's all, or compares or equals, whatever word you want to use. And then here's another A10 example that I know we're beating that to death. And the reason we're beating it to death is because it comes in incorrectly a lot. So just in this example, you're showing the from and to dates that these people are going to work or terminated. So that's important because all of this adds down to the percentage of time, which adds to the full-time equivalent. And that ties out to the, hours worked versus hours of TA. So because there has to be a percentage, you have to have worked TA 75% of what we're paying you. We're giving you a haircut. We're not saying you have to have 100%. We're saying 75% of the time you asking us to pay you has to be in TA. And obviously it's a 50-50 split of post and pre. So Form A10, make sure you sign and date it. Title wise, it's a lot of times it comes in, it's a perfect form, perfectly filled out, but you didn't sign it or date it.
Very important. Also, trick of the trade. In the case here where we have an example of somebody terminated, do not remove them from the form. I don't believe we're going to let you do that. We lock the form down. Do not remove them. Just don't pay them anything and add the new person. Very important. This is the evolution of the people in your organization during the grant period. Do not make people disappear. Only we can do that.
The next
All
form
right.
is your match. And of course, that's it's on your letterhead. Here's the way we would like to see it typed up on your letterhead and submitted with your application. That's all we're doing here is giving you a little template to use.
Yep. Don't need War and Peace.
Technical proposal. These are all the things that you should have within your technical proposal. And a lot of you do this very well.
Organization chart. Please put names, first and last names. Just don't hand me an org chart with just blanks or just first people's names or nicknames. We want to see a correlation to the people we're paying and where they are in your organization. Just because I enjoyed that last year, Dave.
Yeah, I can
All
tell.
right. Anything else?
Well, the indirect cost is one item that you can put your de minimis audit goes, I mean, not your de minimis audit, but a lot of grantee, you cannot ask us to reimburse you for your audit. So I normally tell clients, okay, if you want to put a 10% number in the de minimis area in your indirect cost rate, you can use that for your audit. But you're not allowed, if we see audit explanation in your direct costs, you'll probably get a kickback and asking what you're talking about. So just be
anything
aware
under
of
your
it.
indirect cost rate, we're not going to ask for any detail. So don't give it to us.
Yeah, that's another good point. If we don't want it, don't send it.
Yep.
That just confuses everybody.
This is the sheet that I said was emailed Thursday or Friday to your organization. This is the TA milestone. And this is where you're going to try to, put your best guess towards how many people you're going to be helping this year per quarter, both post and pre-TA. So try to be realistic with this, get as close as you can. I know that you've got to use your magic 8-ball and it said ask later, but I need you to put something in now. So do your best. We're not going to tease you, mock you, or punish you if you missed your numbers, but many of you are very experienced with this. Make sure you put these numbers in. Very,
And
very important.
It's only in the column that it's not colored. You can't input something in column Q1, 2, 3, and 4. Put everything in put your column, the column can only be populated that's in white. The cell can only be populated that's in white.
Yeah, we've locked you out. And if anything turns red, that means you're probably just read it. It may mean you've got too much pre in there, so you'll need to adjust accordingly. So you'll see the examples at the bottom of the page to kind of keep you on a guideline and how we calculate our numbers. So again, do your best on that, but it was emailed to you. You should have it. If you didn't get it, call your analyst.
We might want to take some questions here.
We'll take some questions and we're going to start off with Kathleen. You are up. Kathleen?
Hi, everyone. It's Carlene. Just
Oh,
an FYI.
sorry.
That's okay, James. Quick question. I just noted in Grant Solutions that it is saying May 2nd under the Microloan 2024. Okay, so just an FYI. That's what I'm seeing in Grant Solutions right now.
It's April 30th for you.
Okay, just making sure.
Yep. I have factored in the psychological effect. I am Scotty from Star Trek. It's April 30th for you.
Okay, got
Okay.
you. Making sure.
Just letting you know. April 30th. All right, Jenny, you're up.
Hi, my question was related to the org chart. I know you mentioned names. Do you want to see positions on there that have not been filled that we're putting on?
Yeah, if you got TBD or needs to be filled, that would be informative to us.
Okay.
That's sometimes very supportive if we see a downturn in TAs because the entire TA department went swimming with sharks, and that was a bad idea. So
All right,
I do
thank
not
you.
recommend that as a team building event. Don't do that.
All right, thanks.
It does quite the opposite.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, Nathan, you're up.
Hey, thank you for the awesome, entertaining presentation for after lunch, especially. So when it comes to my first time, still within my 90 days, I have my predecessor here, yeah, this is my first time doing it. Is there like a beginner's class? Can I have some one-on-one possibly with this?
Your analyst always stand by to help you. You'll get a copy of this, not only for your entertainment, but your edification. It'll be sent. You'll be good to go. But trust me, once you get into this, you're going to be fine. It's collecting all the numbers that you need to put together into it. So I think you're going to be fine. It doesn't get any more basic than this. After all, I told you where to sign. It says signature. I can't break it down anymore. But yeah, if you need help along the way, we'll be here for you. Just collect the data, put it together the best you can, make sure the numbers match. Okay.
Yeah,
and if
get
your
together
predecessor's
with your
there, have them
analyst.
take you out afterwards for drinks because they owe you. Okay. So Luke, you're up.
Hi, speaking of signatures, do these all need to be wet ink signatures, or can we use fancy things like DocuSign, as we sign them?
Yes, you may have the exception to the microloan program where you can use your e-signatures or your scribble on your grant. Only your grant. Do not apply this to your note on your loan. We do not accept e-signatures on notes. Because
Okay.
if you read the thing that you scroll down and you ignored, it says you can't transfer. So you can do it here because it's only between you and us. Just a
Okay.
little party of grant money.
Hey,
Got
Chris,
it.
real quick. Hey, it's
Yep.
Dan. I just wanted to jump in there. For the application, you're absolutely right. An e-signature is fine. When it comes time to sign the notice of award, the Office of Grants Management may still require a blue ink wet signature on that. But I think you're fine for the application, but just keep in mind when it comes time to have the ADO sign that notice of award, that may still have to be a blue ink signature.
Okay. And then
Yep.
my second question, just to round out the org chart topic, it sounds like it need not be identical to our A10 or limited to, say, our A10 list. It's if we have unfilled roles or maybe even contractors that we think of as, sort of a continuous part of the organization, it should be a holistic org chart.
Yep, we want to know what's going on there. That helps. It gives us that macro look at your organization.
Okay, so good. So we're not trying to tie it to something else. It should just be the
Nope.
most realistic depiction of our
Yep.
organization. Great.
That's
Perfect.
it.
Awesome. Thanks.
Yep, no problem. Assayas. Hopefully I said that right. You are up. I'm going with Assayas because I'm not even going to try the second part.
What, he might want to unmute himself if he's trying to talk.
If he is, or
Okay.
they are.
Hello.
There you go.
Yeah, sorry about that. I think you mentioned that loan packaging is not gonna be considered TA. So
That is correct.
how about assisting customers in developing business plan, or what basically is considered TA?
Oh boy, that's back to a 101. Okay, first rule of technical assistance. You need to be teaching people how to fish, not handing them a fish. So if you are teaching them how to do a business plan, that is TA. If you're writing their business plan for them, that is not TA. Okay?
Okay.
If you're originating the loan, that is not TA. If you're explaining the concept of lending here in your municipality and how it's going to work and how loans work, especially if they're new to the lending world here in your community, that could be TA. So you need to say, okay, out of the hour it took me to do a loan origination application, I spent 15 minutes in TA, 45 minutes in origination. So you would have to keep track of that.
And that it's could be classified as either pre or post. Normally, if you
Yeah,
haven't done the
application's going to be pre. So
yeah, normally.
yeah. So we have we covered in Denver, and I think when you get the link to this presentation, there's a whole list of presentations about what is TA and what you can do and all that fun stuff. So we'll push that to there. But when in doubt, goes for everybody. Please call your analyst, give them a shout to double check before you start spending money on something you not sure if it's TA or not. Okay, Marcia, you are up.
Yep, it's Marcia.
Marcia, sorry.
No problem, no problem. Just a question, since this grant was so much lower than previous years, is there a chance that we could hold some this year for next year, for do a fifth quarter?
No, use it or lose it.
Okay, so there are no more fifth quarters.
Nope.
Okay.
Gotta make it happen, captains.
All right, it's gonna be tough on this amount.
I know. I already sent Dave over to the local hospital. Those med students pay $1,500 for practicing spinal tap. So you'd be lucky you got what you got. I had Dave done
we're thankful for
152
it.
times last month.
Yeah, we are thankful for it. It's
Yeah. It's a budget thing. You know who to go talk to.
Yep.
There you go.
Thank you.
Okay, Rebecca, you are up.
Yes, my question is regarding the base grant and the bonus grant. Is there one of those grant dollars that are prioritized if we're not able to accept both grants or the full grant amount?
Oh, well,
Hey, Chris.
Dan, yeah, I was about to call you in.
Yep, I can answer this. No, the answer is no, there's not a priority. If you're going to not use the entire grant, the dollars that you're not going to use are going to be pro rata. So, whatever percentage the bonus is versus the regular grant, you're going to return, dollars in a pro rata share of each, if that makes sense.
That does make sense. Then the non-federal match at the new dollar amount would be pro rata.
That's right. Everything would be pro rata. So your match percentage as a percentage of, the federal funds will stay the same. Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Okay.
Yep.
Karen, you're up.
Hi, quick question. When previous life, we had, when the work week is less than a 40-hour work week, but we need to analyze the hours. Are we still analyzing? Or are you changing the calculator spreadsheets?
No,
Yeah.
you're working off the gold rule. Our gold, our rule. You want to go ahead, Dan?
Yeah, I was just going to say, go ahead and annualize, whatever the salary is. I mean, we still go off of a 40-hour work week to calculate the FTE. So if you're on a 37.5-hour week, you just scale it down to that work week.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, we've gone through the questions. Dave, you want to pick up on the tax status letter?
Sure. This is a form that you've all seen. It's your 501c3 form that you have all filled out. You should have it in your file cabinet somewhere. All we're looking for is the copy of it to send in with that part of the application. It's hopefully you have a copy of it, and you can make a copy and put it in with your application in that section. The next section is your 1711 lobbying form. Again, this is all this is signature, date, and title. Should be a quick turnaround. ACH 3881. I think someone spoke of this earlier. This is where you want the funds that you're getting reimbursed for this grant to go. And make sure you sign and date and so forth. The signature on this form should be from your bank, not the president of your institution. Certificate regarding debarment. If you can read this, it's another sign, seal, and deliver form, date form. But as part of the application, we're required to have this in the documents. And the indirect cost rate comes from your cognizant agency. If you don't have if you've never done one before or never had one, this is where you would do that, put that letter in that I indicated earlier, a form on the indirect cost rate letter. But you can see it's given to you from the cognizant agency, whoever that is, for your institution. It's a form letter. They type the rate that you're allowed and through what date and so forth. If it's expired,
this
you
is just
should.
an example.
Yeah, this is just an example. If your letter's expired, you should have been renewing that way prior to this time that we're talking about right now.
Unless your
Because it takes
cognizant agent is us, which in that case, you're going to use whatever you had because we still don't have somebody reviewing yet. So there you go. And if you want to take the 10%, you'll just simply say, hey, I'm taking that 10% de minimis because I've never had an indirect cost rate with the federal government. So we'll just take your 10%, move on down the road. So
And
you
it's
can do that
10%.
as well.
Yes, it's not 10% of the total, it's 10% of your direct costs.
Direct costs, yes.
So if you have an award of 100,000, it's not going to be 10% of the 100. It's going to be 10% of something like 90,000 or something like that.
75, whatever.
Whatever.
All right. Your cost policy statement. Very often your
Just an
accountant will
example.
set this up.
This is all an example that you can use.
You can, yeah, definitely use this form and they can tidy it up a little bit. And this would usually be your comptroller or CPA. Somebody is going to fill that out for you. And speaking of CPA CFO,
Here's an example of the cert letter that the CFO or CPA would sign. And of course, it would be nice if you put that on your letterhead. Drug-free workplace is a form signed. And date the form, type your name and title. And then we go
Dave,
back to
another reminder.
Famous reminder page. Please make this a checklist or make this a Bible or put this in your policies and procedures, your desk manual, who knows, but make sure that you can answer yes to these questions. It would make your life easier and the analyst that reviews your application easy also.
We're about a month behind because of the budget. We didn't have a budget at that time until last week. We just got it, so we're coming up with every shortcut possible. The 1081 exception is one of them. It is crucial that you guys print this thing out, put it in front of everybody that's helping you in this grant. Try to get this in correctly the first time. So it is absolutely essential that we get this in and turned around ASAP so that you can start billing at the beginning of the period. And there's many more people that are going to touch this besides our office. So we need to get it in, get it done ASAP so we can hand it to the grants department and they do the voodoo they do. And that takes some time. And then eventually it's going to go over to your favorite people in Denver. They're the money people. So we want to give everybody a fair amount of time to get this done. So hop on it. You do not wait till the last day. You could submit it today, and that would be wonderful. So again, this is a non-competitive grant, so you can get it in there, get it in early. We might even take a peek, send your analyst an email that you submitted, and they can start making magic happen. So help us help you. Oh my God, I'm going to put that in a movie. Anybody remember it? No? Okay.
You look
Wow.
like
All
Tom
right.
Cruise. Tom Cruise, huh?
Yeah,
Neat.
people constantly mix me up for Tom Cruise
You
or
kind of look like him.
Jim or James Belushi, which is not really great. Okay, so again, your reminder letter. Dave have already picked out some of his favorites. Mine is always the 1081, making sure that everything matches the job description and title, etc. So please make sure we get those in. And that they check all the boxes. And if you answer yes, please give us the explanation. Very important, but they have to check all the boxes. Don't leave any of them blank for my entertainment. Okay, we're back to questions. Jenny, you're up.
Okay, I'm gonna make you go back a little bit. I thought I heard somebody say about signing the banking form, that needed to be signed by the banker,
Yes,
Yep.
that's true.
not by the person internally.
That's correct. That might have been we might not have caught it, but that's the way it's supposed to occur. Yeah.
So that
The
one
AC
is
The ACH person at the bank should be signing that.
ACH person at bank. Okay, thank you.
Yep, in theory. Terry, you're up. Terry T. All right, moving on. Luke, you're up.
All right. Hi. As far as 1081s for the board members, do those need to be included as part of this TA grant proposal process, or is it outside of that because our board members are not listed on the A10?
Nope, we always, do you have new board members from last year when you submitted?
We do have new board members, but I'm not sure if we've submitted board members in the past. So, yeah.
Then you're supposed to send us a 1081 job description resume anytime you change your board members. So yes, send those in.
Okay, so is it on the same deadline as this, or is it?
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So get them in, make it happen.
All righty.
Yep. And if they don't want to sign, send them to the team event of Swimming with Sharks.
Okay.
Just
Thanks,
saying,
Tom.
we'll
Yeah.
get it happen. All right, very
Thanks,
good.
Tom Cruise.
I'm going to go back to you have a follow-up, Luke, or are you good?
Nope, all good.
He's
Thank
good.
you.
All right, great. Terry, calling you out again. You had your hand up, Terry. We're back to Jenny.
So I'm going to follow up from that last question about the board members. We send those in when our board members on board. Is
Yep.
that sufficient, or do we need to send
That's
them in with
sufficient.
this?
Nope,
Okay.
that's sufficient. If you've already submitted them and approved them, you get the super shortcut for this year.
Gotcha. Thank you.
All right, unless they were an axe murderer, then I want to know about it.
And I want to
So-
say, I want to reiterate, thank you for this 1 year exception.
Yeah, well, you're welcome. But I mean, you all understand the due diligence and the reason we do it, right? Because we don't want you on the news. Nobody cares
Yes,
about
of course. Yes, of
So
course.
this allows us to be the bad person. So you could say it's federal government's fault, not mine. And then they can come after me. So good luck finding me in the
I'm following up.
fluorescent home I call my office. Okay, let's see who else do we have. Lisa, you have a question? Go ahead.
Actually, Lynn Cutler is here with me.
Hi, Chris. How are you? It was nice to see you in
Doing
person
well.
a couple of weeks ago. We just wanted to follow up on that question. Are you doing any no-cost extensions this year?
You can always submit, but as a general rule, short of pandemic, volcano, we're probably not going to extend them unless you have an extenuating circumstances. Fifth quarter as a habit is not what we're doing.
Right.
And I mean,
but I was
even if you're from Philadelphia, we don't consider that a disaster.
No, I was just following up from the other woman that had asked that. She said since her grant was cut so much, was it possible for her to carry over? The way she asked it, I didn't know whether that meant that you couldn't do the no cost request.
It is, you're supposed to spend your money in 4 quarters. A fifth quarter is only approved upon extenuating circumstances.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right,
like
thank you.
let's say you're a Dallas fan in Philadelphia. They would
Oh,
get
boy,
an
that would be
extension
a-
if they live. If they lived. So
All right,
there
thank
you go. So yeah,
Thank you.
no, fifth quarter habits will not be approved. So spend it. If you need help spending money, you can always call me, or better yet, email me and we'll set up a time. I'm very good at spending money. I've learned many ways after 5 kids of how to spend money. So there you go. I'll teach you everything you wanted to know about technical assistance and spending
Right.
money. Not a
Well,
problem.
you just brought that up. I have a question. Does financial education and financial counseling count as technical assistance?
Are you teaching them how to fish?
We hope we're doing even more than that. We're hoping that they'll become self-sufficient.
Yeah, if you're empowering them through education and it's entrepreneurial, then most likely it's going to count. If
Okay.
you have a doubt in your head as to why it would not be approved, put it in an email, send me a copy of what you're teaching.
All right, thanks.
Yep, not a problem. Glad to help. Terry, your hand's still up. I'm calling
Thank
you
you
one
very
more
much.
time and then I'm taking your hand down. You there, Terry?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, go ahead.
Perfect. Following up on Marcia's question about funding, this last budget cycle for the federal government goes through September of 24. At that time, hopefully we'll have a budget or we'll have another continuing resolution. If that happens, either one of those two things happen, would there be more funds available for SBA and more funds available for us in this grant formula for this currently fiscal year.
Terry, you're going to find this shocking, but not one person on Capitol Hill calls me. They don't
Well-
ask my advice. They don't listen to me, even if I did. As a matter of fact, we're a half block from the Capitol. When I'm walking to the Metro, they occasionally speed up when I cross the road. So I'm going to go on a limb and say, not so much. It's a budgetary decision. If you want this program to get more money, you know what to do. You're going to have to call your representative and have your voice be heard for any aspect of this program, whether it's more money or you want to implement change. You know, all of that is your voice, and it does work. You know, in this particular case, you know, they're changing gears from you know, I will say pandemic funding in the past couple of years. They let us use it, and now this is where they, you know, needed to cut the budget to get back on track. So make your voice heard, make it loud, make it often, and you know, we'll see what happens. And when we know what the budget is, and that's assuming they don't have another 6 months of extensions, but they actually do the budget. We calculate as early as we possibly can. We get all the parameters for calculating your grant usually by about the end of the first week of December, give or take a couple of days. And we usually start calculating then, assuming we do not have a budget extension, because we don't know what they're going to do. So I would strongly suggest you make your voice heard, just not to me. So go ahead, you know, call the people on the Hill, you know, the appropriate people. They're probably meeting with you regularly. And just let them know, you know, hey, I needed more. And tell them slow down when I'm crossing the road. I'd greatly appreciate it. I don't move that fast anymore. I'm not even worth 20 points. I move so slow. The only thing lower pointed is Dave, because Dave's really slow. So there you go. All right, so we had some brave souls that raised their hand and asked questions. I thought that was awesome because it made it actually interesting. We didn't have too many people use the chat function, so we're going to continue to raise hands. And so with that, I'm going to open up the floor for any additional questions, comments, concerns. Or you can just pick on us. That's fine too. All right.
I want to say, I want to say one thing in regards to not maybe this application, but just grant awards in general. I think everyone should try their best to get their reimbursement requests in on time and submitted properly every year. So it just makes everything a lot smoother and easier for your analyst when he or she's trying to get your reimbursement to you into your account. So please be cognizant of getting your meeting your deadlines for your award, for all of the information that we request of you throughout the year. It really helps things run a lot smoother. Thank you.
Yep. Earlier is better. Do not wait till the last day. You will be getting a copy of this PowerPoint. We will also send you a link to this wonderful presentation so that you have it for the weekend, because I know you're like, oh my God, the weekend's coming. I don't know what I'm going to do to entertain my kids, family, and friends. And now you will have this link. This link will go to something up on YouTube. You can grab it, listen, pick your favorite beverage, kick back, and just totally enjoy everything you wanted to know about how to apply for the 2024 microloan grant. It'll be riveting, it'll be enjoyable, and it'll sound a lot like this one. And when you get that link, you can search around, and there are some other trainings that I have put up there that you could take advantage of like, what is TA, creative ways to do TA. So I've dedicated that area of YouTube just for you guys to enjoy. So there you go. So that'll all be coming out tomorrow sometime. Once we get the download. This has to be downloaded, and I have to compile it and do some voodoo, and then it'll be up there. But you'll get all of this tomorrow. So with that, any more questions, comments, or concerns? Okay, I'm only asking because I'm going to turn the recording off, and I can tell you your peers greatly benefit from your questions. And after I turn it off, then, Terry, you can start swearing at me again. It'll be fine.